All right. Where is it? No, that's not it. Is it over there? No. Ah! Oh, this is. Oh, hey there, everybody. It's me, Toilet Paper. I've lost my balloon. See, I had a big white balloon that I tied a. I was getting pretty bad TV reception here, so I tied an antenna to the bottom of this balloon and I sent it up in the air. But now I can't find my balloon. Ugh. You guys haven't heard about my balloon anywhere, have you? I'm trying to find it anyway. Well, I guess I'll just keep looking while we watch Sid Krofft, the grandfather of puppetry. Today, Sid's guest is the amazing Adam Dougherty, Kreature Kid. You should look him up on Instagram. He's absolutely fantastic. And he's just really great. He makes all these great monsters and Beefy Boy. Oh my gosh, Beefy Boy and we're best friends. Anyway, listen, I gotta go back to looking for my big white balloon. If you hear anything about my balloon, you let me know. But in the meantime, just enjoy Sid Krofft. Take it away, Sid. Where is my balloon?
Ladies and gentlemen, the unusual artistry of Sid Krofft.
Thank you, Toily. Toily, you're a star. You break me up. I love you, Toily. And thank you for coming on every week. Okay, I've been asked a zillion times, where do you get your ideas from? And Kelly, should I...
We don't want to tell them. It's a secret.
It is?
And
no.
It's dirty.
No. When everybody would break for lunch at our show business factory, when we broke for lunch, we didn't have any rules all during the day. People just took whatever they needed. And I would take off in my van, and I loved my van. It was customed out just for me, and I designed it. And I'd go to Venice Beach and run my 9 miles in the hard sand from Venice Beach to Santa Monica Beach and back. And that would always take me an hour and 20 minutes. The lifeguards got to know me. They didn't know what I did, but every once in a while they'd come down and run, 20, 30 feet with me. And they called me the turtle because I was a slow runner. 9 miles, an hour 20. I came in just like a scheduled train. And then I would rest for 15 minutes and go back to work. And hopefully with another idea. If you're a runner, you can definitely relate to what I am saying. After the second mile, your mind can create the world because your adrenaline, just after the second mile, it just takes over, and it's amazing. I love to run. I haven't in, I don't know how many years, but I do walk my 2 miles, and I run when there's a downhill section. Not as hard as I used to, but okay. And I would create some of our biggest shows on the beach, and of course the puppet shows. All the puppet shows that we did at Six Flags and Kings Island and Busch Gardens, I think for about 7 or 8 years. And some of the TV shows were created running, and the famous ones. Okay, the puppet shows were such a huge hit at Six Flags that the sole owner of Six Flags when it first opened was Angus Wynn. And we were like the #1 attraction, and he would spend a lot of time talking to me and take me on the bucket ride and show me the park. And one day he asked us if he supported a, a factory for us in Los Angeles. Would we be interested in, creating the rides and the attractions and whatever their needs are? Can you imagine? What an opportunity. And so we already had a small operation, but we found a huge building, a block long, right behind the Burbank Airport. And we called it the Show Business Factory. And we put together, oh my God, a mini Disney operation. We got the most creative people in Hollywood. We ended up with 250 people working there. And like I said, they were the most creative I could find. And so, and we had every single department. And you've seen my guest today. Oh, that's where I was going. My guest today.
You have a guest today?
Yes, I do have a guest today. We've been doing this for 3 years, Kelly.
And we have.
So that's a zillion guests.
It feels like a zillion guests sometimes.
No, it just, when you're having a good time, time just passes quickly.
That's true.
No, I don't know how I do it. And I still have stories to tell. Well, okay, our guest today is definitely at the very top of his field. You've seen his creative work in so many hit movies. And I and you, I know, can't wait to listen to his journey and his passion and what he's accomplished. And he has a company in Colorado. So he's coming straight from Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, they call him the Kreature Kid, Adam Dougherty. Come on down, Adam. I can't wait.
In the meantime, this is where we tap dance.
Oh, yeah? Should I fill in with some dialogue?
Sure, up until we, or not. Oh,
there
look at that.
There we go. Hi, Sid.
Wow. Well,
how are you?
You're a technical person, so I knew we wouldn't have a problem, bringing you on. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you for having me. What an honor to be talking to you.
Well,
Sid.
Thank you. We're both self-taught, right? Both of us.
Yeah.
And, and usually it's father to son or daughter, father to daughter. But we came from families that had no clue. I talked to you for a few moments this week, had no clue what the hell we wanted to do with our lives, because all parents want you to be, I've said this before, a doctor or a lawyer because they know there's big bucks in that.
Yeah. You're always told to have a backup plan, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I chose puppetry, and you did too, in a huge way. And so your career is like mine. We took one step at a time, didn't we? Tell us what you do.
Well, I do a lot of special effects and creature designing for movies, building suits and makeups, and what I'm trying to do with my new company, Kreature Kid, which has only been an actual business of mine for the past year or two. It's kind of been my identity as just a creative artist, doing art pieces and kind of like short stories and things like that, little short videos. And with the start of Kreature Kid as a company, a special effects shop, I'm trying to really reintroduce puppetry into films, because I think there's a big lack of puppets being used anymore. Everything is so digital now. And I can't remember the last time I saw wonderful puppets and creatures in movies or television, or even being used anymore.
In my movies.
Yeah, right.
On my television. No, I'm not on an ego trip. But I have to say it. And I know you were in Los Angeles for like 10 years, right? Working for ADI?
I was working for the Studio ADI, was the special effects shop I was at for the longest. I was also an Imagineer for a few years at Disney.
Wow.
Doing theme park stuff for them, a lot of theme park sculpture, and K&B Effects, which does like all the Walking Dead and Creepshow, the TV show. I was working there for a few years. So I've kind of been bouncing around and just gaining experience in as many departments as I could, from painting to sculpting to mold making. And then I've kind of just done that as a career. And then when I started my own company, I met a surprisingly a large community of puppet builders and puppet enthusiasts here in Colorado. And when we were approached to do the creature effects for our first movie, Onyx the Fortuitous, I just really, discussing it with the director, I really started talking more and more, but being like, I think these zombies shouldn't be makeups. Wouldn't it be really weird if they were puppets? And what if this, instead of a guy in a suit, was actually a giant puppet with someone inside of it?
Wow.
And we just really started talking about your work and Henson's work, and kind of our love of every character in every movie just is puppets. And it started also just kind of making me realize that all these wonderful special effects shops that do creatures, none of them really specialize in realistic monster puppets. We've had a few movies in the 80s that were similar and kind of had that style of is it real? It's got pores, it has realistic paint, but it's a person in a suit, or it's someone's hand inside of there. I just kind of saw a hole in the market, if it were, where everyone was offering one thing and no one was offering this other thing. And that's I know that's how your career has always been, is going left instead of going right.
Hey, thank you.
And I kind of just saw the opportunity to start showing off what I wanted to see in creature designs and just have fun with. Before this movie that we did, I had never actually worked with a puppet before.
No way. Oh, I thought you were a puppeteer. It's
always been guys in suits, and it's just been a love of mine. But meeting some wonderful puppet makers, because we started building everything, and everyone I was working with, the mold makers and stuff, were like, how are these going to work? And I'm like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to have our hand above our head. We're going to do this. And everyone's like, how is that going to, how are you going to strap it to your hand? What's the weight going to be? How are you going to hide yourself inside of this? And I was like, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then I met these wonderful puppet makers, and they just helped me, this wonderful team of people here in Colorado just helped me get this vision of these puppets. And now I just want to be known as a puppet creature shop. So I'm trying to incorporate everything I can when someone comes to me to build a creature that they want to be a makeup on someone or a suit on someone. I can go, sure, but it'd be really cool if we did this.
Yeah, look at this. Don't forget, everything I did in all of our shows was over 50 years ago, too, And when the first Star Wars came out, there was very little CGI, hardly any, and it was amazing. It just blew me away. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Have you seen Pinocchio yet?
Oh, I love
Oh
it.
my
I love it. Yeah.
God. It's just everybody out there. Oh my God, don't miss it. I wish you could see it in a theater. I
Yeah.
saw it at the Academy on a huge, huge screen, and just to see the detail, because on television, of course, it's mind blowing, but to
Yeah.
see it on a big, huge, huge screen, oh wow! And I met Del Toro, and we're going to spend a day within the next couple of weeks together. But what an amazing, amazing movie! And
Yeah.
it had to go to the top of my list,
Oh, yeah.
because
He's the top of my list just as
yeah,
filmmakers.
me too,
Um,
me
yeah,
too.
he's
And
incredible. And I had dabbled a little bit in stop motion. I did a little short film called Puglu from Planet P, which is a pug monster. And I do these personal art projects to just teach myself um, different techniques of effects and puppetry. So this little music video that I did, Puglu, I was teaching myself the programs to do CG comping, the programs to do stop motion, and how to build a stop motion puppet, because it was something I always wanted to do, but it's something working in the effects industry you don't really get the opportunity to do. So it was something I challenged myself to do on the side during my free time. As well as a water tank puppet where
oh
you
my
put.
God, I loved your water tank puppet.
Thank you.
Oh wow! And
That was inspiration from the ghosts in Poltergeist. They used a few of those, and then
yeah,
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Just
right.
something you never get the opportunity to do working a day job. And I've just always wanted to play with a puppet underwater, because it's such a beautiful technique that you don't really see much anymore.
Isn't it a
Um,
killer to be creative and
yeah,
and not copy? It's fine when you see something, you know, like what you said earlier. I've always gone left, and I've experimented on my own. The
yeah,
audience will tell you how much they love something, because I started as a performer. So,
yeah,
I got, that's where I got my fuel. That's where I got, knowing that I was doing the right thing. I would know that not for nothing to last too long, have your puppet do all the tricks it can, and stop right there almost,
yeah, yeah,
because then people, you just dazzle the hell out of them. And
yeah,
my act, I created my act, and it was by myself. I mean, like you, we came from families that just, didn't give us guidance. They supported us when they saw you made a living. They loved that.
yeah, yeah. Well, my parents were pretty supportive. My father didn't quite get to see it become a career. He was only around to see me, in my bedroom making things and not mowing the lawn or going outside. But I think he knew that I had found what I wanted to do.
And
But he just wasn't around long enough to see it become what it is so far. But my mom is extremely proud of the work we're doing, and is we watched the movie together, and seems pretty blown away by the stuff that's up here, and now it's on a TV screen.
that's my son. Yeah, that's what my mom always used to say.
Yeah,
I know she's up there looking down. Yeah, that's my son.
yeah.
And
Now,
go
oh, go
ahead.
ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say she's up there with, I'm sure, with Walt Disney,
Oh
and
yeah,
because Walt Disney, and I've told my fans this a couple of times, one day, the first time we ever met him, said, can I give you some advice? Can you always put your name above everything that you create, because someday it's going to be worth something.
Oh, wow.
You know? And so I told our publicist about that, and he said, "Oh, I can sell that much quicker,"
Yeah.
because everything always said Sid Krofft, Sid
Yeah.
Krofft. You know, my 20 years or 19 years doing my act. Yeah, but I know your pug is your dog, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw
I
him.
love pugs. I grew up with pugs. I have a pug.
Yeah.
And every time I design a creature, I'm always looking at it and I go, this is starting to look kind of like a pug. And it's just something fun I like incorporating. All of my work, and I know you relate to this, all of my work I try to direct towards kids. I am not the biggest horror fan. I don't like gore. I try not to be a FX shop that does gore. All of my subjects and all of the creatures I design are always fun, silly, colorful, but also what makes something creepy is the realistic textures in the paint. So like we do zombies, our zombies are lime green and turquoise, and their eyes are rolling around, and a kid could be scared of it, but also a kid could laugh at it and think it's silly. I've always been drawn towards, I think because I had such a wonderful creative childhood with loving the classic Universal monsters. You know, Creature from the Black Lagoon is my favorite movie of all time.
The first monster movie I saw, I guess it was a horror movie, Dr. Cyclops.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I got the idea to do Dr. Shrinker. You know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but that's 1940.
Wow.
And I, you know, for me to see a horror movie like that was really weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
At that age, you know.
But like Wolfman was 1941, you know,
Yeah.
Lon Chaney's Wolfman, that's one of my favorite movies. So just growing up as a kid who loved horror movies, but creatures that weren't scary to a kid, you know, I loved The Creature and I loved The Wolfman, but they were never scary and they were never gory movies. So I try to add a design of whimsical and childlike horror, basically, inside of everything I do. And, you know, goals that I want to try to achieve as a creative is I've always wanted to do a children's book that I write and illustrate. I've always wanted to do a musical number with creatures and puppets that is for kids. But I was wondering why
you're doing.
I want to do. I am working on a short film right now that does have the start of a musical number with shrunken heads singing in the jungle. But what made you, Sid, so drawn towards making content for children?
Well, the whole thing was totally an accident.
Yeah.
Because I was perfectly happy with just doing puppet shows for Six Flags and so on.
Yeah.
And when Six Flags set us up with the Show Business Factory, those 250 people that we had, oh my God, the greatest talent in Hollywood, because it was a free place. You know what I mean? You could do anything you wanted to. I spent most of my time in the art department. I hardly had an office, you know, and that's not what I was interested in. It was, you know, what was my next creation. And so after we would deliver everything for Six Flags, what do we do the rest of the year? I didn't want to let anybody go. So they allowed us to open up our doors to the world.
Yeah.
And
wow.
you know, and oh my God, you know, Ice Capades and Ice Follies and Ring Ring and, you know, a crazy thing, Earth, Wind and Fire and the Jackson 5 building their stages and
And
whatever.
the big thing that people always argue is sit over Chuck E. Cheese.
And Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, all these
Yeah.
people can, and we do. You know what? I have to be honest. We didn't know what we were doing, but you sure learn fast.
Yeah.
You know, when you've got to do something huge like that, it's like Six Flags. We built a haunted house, right? And I think I'm the first one to do this, and it was expensive, but everybody in there was live, not animatronics or,
Yeah.
and so that's what made it such a, I mean, now all the parks are doing that at Halloween, that's a big, big deal. And our haunted house started with a slide in the dark that you got on the, and you went through these webs, you felt like you were.
Yeah.
And then you landed at the bottom, and we took over.
That's incredible.
And it was a great, great haunted house,
Yeah.
I don't even think it's still there. Because, wow, that's in the 60s.
Yeah.
They probably redid it.
It's probably all rotted.
But
yeah. I'm trying to do something similar as far as like, I don't have 200 plus employees, but right now I have a team of about 8 to 10 people. And we just try to create an environment, my shop, as fun. We have movies playing all the time. I'm stopping everyone and pointing out practical effects or puppets, and then we talk about how they built it, or we try to all figure out how it was done. And then, I'm right now still in the phase of trying to figure out how to keep everyone employed, because, I'm the one who has to bring the work in. And, I've worked a career, especially the special effects industry, where it's job to job. If a movie's over and there's no movie after that, everyone's laid off and you file for unemployment,
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how to just be a sustainable business and keep all these creatives employed, and also try to encourage them to do their own side businesses or create, their own things to sell online, or to create a YouTube channel, or to do something of their own,
Well, you did model kits, right? That you sold to a lot of famous people, right?
I started as a small-scale sculptor and selling those and getting hired to do small-scale sculptures until I was about 20. And then I wanted to start making things larger, so I needed to get out of my parents' basement. And that's when I moved to LA at 20 to start working in the entertainment industry, because I just wanted to sculpt bigger. I wanted to sculpt more, even getting going to interview at special effects places with a portfolio of only miniatures, they didn't think I could do it. They were like, well, sculpting large is totally different than sculpting tiny. And I stayed after hours every day interning at a studio, sculpting an 8-foot tall creature to show them, I know I could sculpt large.
Of course.
But it seems like you're always challenged. Everyone, a lot of us creatives know we're capable of doing something, but without showing that you're capable of doing that, no one will believe you.
Well, just to get back to the ladder, both of us climbing, I'm still climbing the ladder.
Yeah.
I am, because I'm still working, and, it takes so long to get to the top. I have a tree house, and it's 30 feet, in a eucalyptus tree.
Yeah.
And you have to go up one step at a time, holding on to the railings, because it almost goes straight up. It's an adventure within it. So,
now, Sid, I wanted to ask you this because I am 33, and I've been doing this for about 15 years now. How do you stay motivated to continue the journey? Because there's a lot of times where I'm just so tired and I'm so broke, and I just am like, is this all worth it?
Oh, of course it
Yeah.
is. You know, I keep telling everybody, don't ever even think of retiring. Don't even look at that path, you know, because that'll kill you. And
Yeah.
no, you know what? That helps, that gets you more motivated, what you just said. It did
Yeah.
me. It's like, I'd never give up. You know, I'm like gum on the bottom of your shoe that you can't get off. And you know, when I have an idea and everybody tells me that's not going to work, I had stage managers, you know, in my puppet shows, you know, they were 25 minutes long. It had over 250 puppets in it.
Wow.
25 minutes.
Yeah.
And it happened around you and above you, and you know, and I remember doing a number. I took the whole audience under the sea, and I had an octopus break out of the stage and picked up a kid, but it was a shill in the audience, and took him back into the stage. People went bananas. You know, I
Yeah.
always did what I called a grand guignol, you know, a horror section, but
Yeah.
it was fun, you know, and I always had little people mixed with my puppets and nobody knew it. Put strings on them, yeah, because they were the same height. No
Yeah.
one knew it. And then suddenly, you know, in different shows, they'd break out of the stage and an elevator would take them
That's
down
incredible.
into the first row and walk up the aisle. And I had a trap door, people screaming, you know, and I would drop him and he'd disappear. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, come on. You are so creative and you're so young, you know. I mean, come on.
I don't
No,
feel
I
that
don't.
young.
But it's good what you said. It really is, because I've been in that position thousands of times.
Yeah.
I've been rejected, just like all of us. Never got the job. I was up for, you know, all kinds of great things and didn't get it.
Yeah.
Last week when people don't call him back and he's like, they're not calling me back.
What is that?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, patience, Sid.
No, people
It's
used
not
to
like it
call you
used to
back.
be.
They don't do that anymore.
It takes a week or two.
You know, yeah, you know, and you can't reach anybody.
And I'm like, stop calling them all the time. They've got a cell phone. They can see you. It's not like it
Yeah,
used
right.
to be.
So what? So I'm gum on the bottom of their shoe too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, because you know when I get an idea and you can relate to this, and you really believe in it, and you try to just before you even tell anybody, you try to work it out, you know, and then you hit a brick wall and you say, oh, wait a minute, and you try to solve that, maybe hit another brick wall. You know, I always tell everybody when they give me an idea, I'm working with someone right now, and they say, what do you think of that? I said, you got to give me a day. I have to think about it. Because right off the bat, I would personally say it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then I'd come back, you know, and wow, that's motivation. It's
Yeah.
great. It's just great. You cannot, you know, you're talented, and the things that you've done and that ladder that you're climbing, it just, it takes a
It's a
lot.
long one.
It
It's
takes
definitely taller than 30 feet.
yeah, it takes a lifetime. It really, really does. You know, like when you talked about your water puppet, I wanted a marionette to swim in a swimming pool.
Oh, wow.
And they, you know, in Lake Poupée de Paris, two marionettes, a boy and a girl. And in this big jungle, you know, and the whole stage was water, real water. Oh, I don't screw around. If it's going to rain, it's going to rain, you know.
Yeah.
And everything was real, you know, big waterfalls and all kinds of effects.
That's incredible.
Yeah, well, because puppeteers never thought I was a great puppeteer,
Really?
and I wasn't. No, never.
Huh.
Because I went out of the box, you know,
Yeah.
and they, I'll tell you what I am, and once again, I'm not on an ego trip. I'm a hell of a showman, you know, and that was the biggest gift I was given, because my act, you know, it dazzled everybody because they never saw anything like it. Plus, like you said, I do it for kids. I took puppetry and did it for adults. Nobody did that,
Yeah.
you know?
Wow.
And just like David Copperfield, he took magic that, you know, at a birthday party, a magician would come and show you a trick. But he took magic and he brought it totally into the adult world, didn't he? You know?
Yeah.
And just blew everybody's mind all over the world. And still, you know,
That's incredible.
he's got a commercial.
The project I'm working on right now, you mentioned the jungle and the marionettes swimming on stage.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a 1930s jungle adventure, and part of the silliness of how, well, you know, so many filmmakers out there use what little they have, whether it's an apartment or where they live. They use that as the stage of their story. But I'm trying to show and I'm trying to build the riddle of how do you make a jungle adventure in the 1930s in the middle of Colorado with no money at all. Well, it's just full creativity, and our hero is stuck in quicksand the whole time. So I want to build a giant set out in my studio, a raised set where our performer can be sunken in quicksand, waist deep, and all these creatures and puppets are interacting with him as he's stuck and trying to get out.
Oh, brilliant.
So that's my personal passion project right now, and this is all hand puppets with animatronic eyes, and then a very large rod puppet, an island creature, which is a full body puppet with this giant fake backpack of steam trunks and luggage, but it's all built out of foam and plastic, so it's very lightweight, and we'll make lightweight rope, so it just looks like it's 1,000 pounds on this little creature's back, but it's all just foam and fabricated. And that is a short story I'm trying to tell, because in the end, I'm trying to be a storyteller and not just a monster maker.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
And you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's just great, because you must have a hell of a reel, you know, that all of Hollywood, I'm sure, has seen, because, you know, Kelly and myself, we've been watching you, and Kelly's son, he follows you. Well,
Kelly's telling me, it's incredible.
Yeah. And
I don't know, and maybe it's just me, but in my world, because, you know, my little shop is my bubble, I don't feel very successful, and I don't feel like I've gotten.
Come on, you have 100. What has you got?
More than us. You've got 100,000 more followers than us.
Than we. Yeah, and I've been on for 3 years. What's wrong with all of you out there? Do you tell your friends? You know, I mean, I'm like a little kid. I gotta have a follower, a bunch of followers. You know, following.
Yeah, I don't know. It just
makes us feel good. Doesn't it?
In the end, I'm still only able to afford fast food, and I still can't afford to build the vision that's in my head. And I don't know, in my mind, I guess that's not hit success yet. If I can't make what I have. Of
course it is. You know, every day you wake up, that's pretty damn successful, you know, and especially your creative mind, you know. I mean, that's hard to come by. You know, we have a lot of creative people with a background that have left us. You know, shit, they can
Yeah.
have knocked me off with a baseball bat. I'm still here. You know, but you know, but wow, creativity is so hard to come by. When we did our first show, Puff and Stuff,
Yeah.
how did we get into television? It was the Banana Splits. They came to us. We knew how to build costumes, people in costumes. So we
Yeah.
designed it. Whatever they paid us, they walked out with it. And it became a huge hit. And they made a lot of money. And we did okay, I guess. But we didn't
Yeah.
get residuals or anything like that. And then the
Okay.
network was NBC. And the network kept saying to me and my brother, you guys are insane. Why don't you come up with your own show?
Yeah.
Well, Puff and Stuff came from a puppet show at the San Antonio World's Fair. You know, I love Texas. I'm going back to Dallas. I did a lot in Dallas. Of course, Six Flags, and I worked there a whole week with Judy Garland. Yeah, as her opening act. I toured with Judy Garland on her first national tour.
That's incredible.
And I also worked there for maybe 3 or 4 weeks with Liberace in a hotel. We're gonna find out the name of the hotel because it was in the year 1800. So you know, I do forget. You know, well, it was in the 50s. Yeah, it was in the 50s. Judy Garland was 57.
Wow.
Isn't that insane?
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
But
That is amazing.
you know what you're doing. I mean, I've watched what I see on your Instagram and what you post, and you're interesting as hell. You know, I mean, you're gonna, yeah. I mean,
I have a lot of time on my hands, Sid.
you have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay because it gives you time to think of what you can create next.
Yeah.
And you know, when I joined the circus at 15 years old, when the big top sat 15,000 people, and I was in the freak show, and it was the hardest part of my life, traveling with the circus, but my family made me do it because I was making $50 a week. That was $200 a month. They became millionaires, you know, because of me staying with the circus. But who would think, because, you know, I can relate to what you're saying, because when I was very young, but when I was in the circus, I thought, how can I use this?
Yeah.
You know, this is torture. I'm just a kid, you know, but boy, did I learn a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And we don't know until years later what you really learned and how it got you that idea, gave you another idea. Because I was in vaudeville and burlesque and ice show and, you know, and all these crazy things, you know, and at the moment you just don't realize, where is this all taking me?
Yeah.
I'm getting great reviews, and so what? You know, how far can I go with a puppet act? Well, come on.
Yeah.
Just look at my career.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a snowball. The snow hooks on by itself, you know, and it gets bigger and bigger, and you think, wow, can I handle all of this?
Yeah.
You know, all day long at work, sit. Yeah,
That's what it is for me too.
Yeah, Adam, because they want, that's good, because it makes you, you know, that plug that's sticking out of your, you know, rear end, you get plugged into the wall and you go, and you get warm inside, and you go, God, I've got to come up with an answer, you know? And,
yeah. I have
and
noticed already, just in the past 2 years of this company, the first project, the first year, because I'm such a creative mind, I don't have any sense of the business side of anything.
well,
I didn't know budgeting. I didn't know any of that. And now it's just within in the past 2 years, I'm like, wow, I can't believe how much I didn't know, and also how much I know now, as well as when I walk into the shop and I see someone sculpting and someone mold making and someone painting, and everyone is asking me specific questions about their tasks, but I'm the only one who knows what each of these tasks, how they all are going to come together and make the final picture of something.
And that's you.
Yeah, and it's so much. That's what gets me excited now. I'm kind of realizing, like, wow, I do have 1,000 things I'm thinking about at one time, of every step of every process of making 10 characters for a movie or for a show. But I do enjoy kind of being able to switch my mind from this creature to this character and know what step we're at and how many of all the other steps we need to do in order to get this thing functioning and working in a performance.
And Adam, you know, being in Colorado, I mean, Michael Curry is not here, and he's got a huge organization, you know, and it's not like you have to be here, you know, because you're in an environment everybody should be in. You know, I mean, what a lucky place to have a shop in Colorado, you know.
Yeah.
And
it does,
you know,
seem to work. I do enjoy. I miss parts of LA, but being there for 10 years, I started to realize the LA that I loved and that I wanted to live in was LA in 1954, when, you know, some of my favorite sculptors in the world were working on the original Disneyland, or working on, you know, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and just, I was starting to go like, oh, well, I love the history of LA, but LA right now, you know, the whole, we finished the monster suit, now drive it over to the lot to film, is no longer a thing. It's always filmed in another country or another state.
But you want to know something? If it was back in the 50s, you'd be older, and you're so lucky to be in your 30s.
Yeah.
You've got a huge career, you know. There's no doubt. There's really no doubt with your background. You know, we had a whole section of sculptures that sculpted the puppets. And Tony Urbano, I found him in San Francisco, and he did Le Poupée de Paris.
Wow.
You know, tits and ass, puppets, yeah. You know, and oh my God, they were so beautiful and so sexy, and you know, and you had to be 21 years old to see that show, Le Poupée de Paris. And it played, you know, the New York World's Fair, the Seattle World's Fair, the San Antonio World's Fair. Yeah. We had two theaters. We had the Coca-Cola and Le Poupée de Paris, where Puffin Stuff, his name was not Puffin Stuff, but that character, designed by Tony Urbano. And then when we got the TV show, Tony gave it arms, you know, and because it was a different color, you know.
Yeah.
And it was blue, it wasn't yellow and green, and, you know, I mean, come on. Back to the ladder. That's the ladder.
Yes.
I love the ladder. Yeah. But, you know, being you're a man of so many talents.
Thank
you. Know, I mean, yeah, that is what a gift that is. I mean, I can't make a puppet. I cannot draw, but I can push your pencil. I know how to push your pencil, and I know what I want, you know, but I can't even draw a straight line. Yeah, you know, I can't, you know, and so, but I always had the most creative people that I found. I mean, out of those 250 people, there were at least close to 100 that I brought in there.
Wow.
You know, that that I knew just when I did my act. You know, and I'm like I have a computer up there. I don't forget. I'm also an elephant. They don't forget. Right? Yeah.
He's a computer elephant.
A computer elephant. Yeah. But, you know, all of us, we wish you so much luck, and don't ever, you know, put your head down and think, wow, now how am I going to make it tomorrow? That's good, because what we think, this is what my dad taught me once. He said, what you think is bad is really good because you learn from it. I mean, it's not bad to say, wow, what am I going to do tomorrow? I'm trying to hold on to my crew. Oh, those 250 people? Yeah, I had that same feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't let anybody go. No,
Yeah.
let's open up our door, you know. Oh my God, we were designing billboards on Sunset Boulevard, anything. You know, the Queen Mary, when it arrived, we were the first designers. What the hell did we know? But I had a great staff, incredible. But I had to give them the idea, you know. Yeah. Let's take the swimming pool on the Queen Mary. We'll put a glass floor on it, and we'll have sharks swimming, you know, underneath. Well, they would have been not real ones, but you'd think they were.
Yeah.
Make sure that you thought they were. And that was the dance floor that you were dancing on, you know, with all the sharks and.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And I feel very fortunate for the amount of people I found. And surprisingly, what I love about Instagram and social media in general is everyone out in my shop working has reached out to me, or I reached out to them through Instagram or Facebook. And they've all kind of found me, and it's friends of their friends. And it's just this small little community that's starting to build. And then I'm trying to create of just creatives having fun and bringing it back to the young kids trying to all prove a point with what they're capable of doing and what we can all offer in creatures and puppets, you know.
A lot of people that I would hire, they'd bring in their friends.
Yeah.
And you know, we said, if you think they can, you know, they're talented, yes, I don't care how young they are. We had all young people, you know, and a lot of people left Disney to come work with us.
Really?
Well, because it was fun. It was, you know, every day it was something else. We built the Disney on Parade. That was a show that traveled in arenas, and we built 2 seasons of that, like the Electric Parade. Well, we built a portion of it at Disneyland too, because our factory had the best engineers, you know.
Wow.
People just came from all over just to have us, and they would use my brain too, you know. I'd give them, I would spend, even though I would leave every day and go do my run, you know, or even go to the gym, I'd spend a lot of big hours, you know, just working with all the creative people, as many as I could. A puppet show took a year.
Wow.
25
That's how long.
minutes.
Our last movie, we worked on that, the zombies and the giant devil. That was a year of building.
Of course. You know, people don't realize. That's why go see Pinocchio if you really want to see detail. Oh my God. You know, this is Pinocchio like you've never seen in your life. You know, it's like not, I know a lot of people that I have asked to please go see it have said to me, but I've seen so many Pinocchios.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
And no, don't even have that into your head.
yeah.
Del Toro? Oh, come on.
So good.
Okay, yeah, they're going to turn us off.
Okay, what are you working on now? You got
Yes.
some promotion? What are you selling?
Yes, sell something.
Oh, I'm not really selling anything. I'm not really selling anything. I'm just really focusing on just trying to build my company as far as offering puppets or building services or creatures or props for anybody's project. You know, right now I'm focusing on, you know, the handful of jobs that I have, as well as my short film Jungle of Darkness, which is the puppet jungle adventure. And that's the one where we're making t-shirts, we're making buttons, we're making all these things. And I'm trying to establish my own original stories and videos and characters, so that I could just focus on building up my own ideas and content, as opposed to just working on everybody else's projects.
I'm just listening to the most creative mind, and people are watching us all over the world, and you've got to pull up Adam and see his work, you know, and wow, this has been unbelievable, and we not only love you, we wish you, you know, so much success, which is automatic, you know, it's going to happen. It has to. It has
Thank
to.
you, Sid.
With all your, you know, your background and your talents, you know, coming out here for 10 years. And, you know, I'm curious too. I want to know everything. You know, I look under the rug. Yeah. You know, I want to know what makes everything tick, and where do you get your ideas from? Not that I'm going to steal it, well, maybe, but you know, you know, as a matter of fact, we were never allowed to look at anything else because our lawyers would say, "What if you're working on the same thing? You'll be sued." You know?
Yep.
Yeah. You know, I got to tell you something. Next week, I'm having Mike Becker. Mike Becker came up with the idea of Funko.
Oh,
And
that's
I just did, yeah. And Mike, he has a podcast, and I did it last week at Funko. You know, right at the entrance of Funko, right in the center of the street, as you walk in, is Sid and Marty Krofft's star, you know, right at Funko. And so I hadn't been there since we got the star, which is exactly 2 years ago. Three years ago?
3 years ago,
Oh,
before
my
COVID,
God.
if you can believe that. It's
Oh,
been
my
3
God.
years of this madness.
wow.
Why? The calendar moves too fast for me.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if anybody out there, and I think I said something last week, if anybody out there is coming to Hollywood, before you go to Universal and Disneyland, go to Funko. It is. Have
It's
you
incredible.
ever been out here?
Yeah, the one off of Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, next
It's
to the,
amazing.
oh my.
It's like a theme park.
Yeah,
It
it's wild.
really is.
I took
And the
Sid
creature from
and
the
I
Black
was just,
Lagoon's there too, which I love.
yes,
No, it's
it's
just,
so cool.
oh, it's just unbelievable. Well, Mike Becker's going to be on next week.
That's amazing.
And I know everybody out there at 4 o'clock, which is a couple of minutes away, you want to see the red carpet because it's the Grammys. Why do we want to see what people are wearing? Especially musicians, yeah.
Because they're
Yeah,
wackadoo.
Because they wear, you know, at the Academy Awards, you know, you just see beautiful gowns, but oh my God.
I want Bjork in a swan dress.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what I want.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Sid, and it's such an honor,
thank
and I'm
you.
such a fan, and we all love you and your work, and
Thank you.
it's just so inspiring, you know, just seeing your career, and you know, it's motivation for me and everyone else who's trying to follow along the same.
And you know what? I'm going to say it in front of hopefully thousands.
Three whole people.
Thousands of people that are watching. anytime you want to talk to me, you know, and maybe throw an idea, who knows? You know, please, I'm here. I take every call, and I'm going to call you after we go off.
He's kidding. Don't call his house.
to
He won't answer the phone.
Yes, I do. I talk to anybody and
Oh,
everybody.
God, stop.
Well, come on. I don't like rejection. You know, I never did.
Oh,
No
bring
one
on the
does.
stalkers. Can't wait.
Well, that's pushing the envelope, okay? Also, I want to thank, there's a fan out there, and his name is Krofft, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
That's his name, Krofft. And he sent me a Valentine, beautiful Valentine, but a gift of memorabilia that I don't even have. And it
that's
just
so cool.
blew me away. I was in a show in London at the Prince of Wales Theatre, and I don't have the program or anything. It's like I did a night of 1,000 stars. I was asked the last minute for the Queen, you know, and I only did 2.5 or 3 minutes at the most, you know, but I don't have
anything,
you know what I mean? Because
there were no cell phones back then.
No,
there was no internet.
No, they had a program, but somebody fell out in the afternoon, and Liberace was starring in that 5-hour show at the Palladium, and he told them to call me, that I wasn't working on Sunday, because I was in another show in London for 6 months. It was called Pink Champagne, and it was tits and ass.
Everybody go see it.
Again.
In your time machine.
Yeah. I worked a lot. I was at the Lido in Paris and the Folie Bergère. So that's why I came up with the idea to do Les Poupées de Paris. It's 4 o'clock. They're going to switch us off. And thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you all.
And Adam, sit next to your phone. We're calling you.
And
okay.
yes, Adam, thank you. And thank you, everybody out there. See you next week. Mike Becker. Interesting.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you too,
Thank you
Sid.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye.